Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video. In tonight's video, we are going to be talking about, in my opinion, one of the most dominant SMG setups in this game as of right now. Personally, I think this is the best SMG class setup that you can go with as of right now in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. There have been a bunch of, well actually the SMGs have gone up and down quite a bit this season, but one thing that has stayed, maintained its way near or at the top of the SMG tier list is this SOG 9mm, and that remains true to this day. This thing is an absolute monster. We had some cool DLC weapons come in and challenge it on the SMG category. We've had a lot of buffs and nerfs, but this weapon has maintained its spot, similar to like a VMP, although they did hit the VMP in Black Ops 3 with like quite a huge nerf near the end, and then the XMC came out and that sort of became OP. But look at this thing absolutely melt. This first gameplay here is one where I joined late, and I basically, not to take credit for the whole thing, but I sort of powered my team into this comeback based on this SOG 9mm. Just watch how this thing works. An absolute monstrosity this thing is, working its way around Arsenal, and these situations are perfect for what this gun is made for. Now, of course, in Black Ops 4, 150 health per enemy, sometimes 200 health if they have extra heals or shields or armor or anything like that. But you can see, you know, you can't take out 1v5 or 1v6 eventually, but just putting myself out there allowed us to get B and be able to clutch up this game. So if you guys could drop a like on this video, we're going to talk about a class setup, we're going to talk about SMGs, we're going to talk about dominance of this weapon. We're going to get right into the class setup here in like 20 seconds, but if you could drop a like on this thing, that'd be amazing. Let's go ahead and go for 682 likes. That'd be incredible. I appreciate everyone supporting, smacking those likes, leaving the comments. It really does mean a lot. Subscribe if you are new, and let's talk about it. Now, SOG 9mm. I smacked this thing out with 4 attachments. Now, when I first started this game out, I would usually go with 3 attachments, 3 perks, sort of standard stuff. I mean, I guess it's not standard, because standard would just be two attachments, but 3 attachments. But now I've sort of realized that, okay, the perks in this game, they're helpful, but they're not as game-changing as a gear, as an operator mod, as a 3rd or 4th attachment, and that's what this game really comes down to. Getting your score streaks and allowing those score streaks to go ham, but also maintaining on a class setup what will allow your gun, what will affect the majority of the gunfight. So if you have something like a tac mask or a flak jacket, that will only affect a minuscule portion of your engagements in the game. However, if you have something like stock or grip or quick draw, those will affect much more engagement. So 4 attachments. What are the 4 attachments that I rock with this thing? First attachment is going to go ahead and be quick draw. Now, quick draw is pretty standard. It's amazing with an SMG, and it just gets your gun up quickly. Especially with a gun like this, you're going to be running and gunning quite a bit. So quick draw is very nice. It's something that I use on honestly the majority of almost all my SMG class setups. Then my next attachment is going to go ahead and be fast mags, and that is because you have 36 bullets in each magazine with this weapon. Now you have the option for fast mags and fast mags 2 available. Fast mags 2, of course, giving you those instant reloads on certain magazines, but I mean the reload time is so damn quick with this weapon anyway. Fast mags 1, the difference between no fast mags and fast mags 1 is so important in my opinion, and that's why, you know, hybrid mags is the ultimate, because you get the best of both worlds, a little bit of extended mags and a little bit about fast mags as well. But with this weapon, I just run fast mags. So those are my 2 sort of standard attachments, and then the next 2 attachments I go with stock 1 and stock 2. Now those first 2 attachments, fast mags, quick draw, there's pretty much no debate on those. Pretty much all people in public matches use those on a SOG 9mm class setup, especially if you're going to be running and gunning. And then with my last 2 attachments, I go with stock 1 and stock 2. And I tested this out quite a bit. I had a little bit of time where I was going with stock 1 and grip, testing out that combo, especially because they did nerf stock 2, how it interacts and works with this weapon a couple months back. However, it actually was super duper strong the way that it interacted before then. So the nerf sort of didn't destroy it, but brought it to a more reasonable point. And of course, the difference you get between having no stock and stock 1 and stock 1 and stock 2, they're not even comparable at all. No matter what you do, you have to have at least 1 stock, but I think going with stock 2 really does help, and it fits my playstyle with this weapon, and let me tell you why. Now, first of all, stock 1 just improves your side-to-side strafe, improved movement speed while aiming, which is deadly on an SMG. Strafing and jump shotting is key, but usually what I want to do with this weapon is I jump shot and then I go right into a strafe. A lot of players, if they have a lower sensitivity, if they're using a stiff weapon like an ICR or an auger or whatever the weapon might be, where it doesn't have stock on it, they can definitely not compete. You know, even if they're using an AR with stock 1, you can't compete with an SMG stock 2. The way you slide back and forth, it really does make you feel like a competitive player in a public match, and it really is super duper strong. So what stock 2 affects is it maximizes that movement speed while aiming, so it gives just a tiny few more percentage points on that, but it also maintains your aim while jumping, landing, and moving while prone, which is pretty key, especially with jump shotting in this game. Now, in the history of Call of Duty, there's always drop shotting versus jump shotting, and jump shotting is definitely the wave in the Black Ops series and the Treyarch games so far, especially in Black Ops 4. Jump shotting is very strong, and what I like to do with jump shotting is sometimes it can take away from the strafe, and that's why if you see like a stiff weapon like an ICR where you don't have any option for stock, I'm going to be jumping around every corner and trying to engage like that if I have to take a 50-50 gunfight. Now with this weapon, you're more... Either way works. You can do a jump shot, and you can usually do a jump into a strafe. That's sort of what I like to do. If I'm challenging around a corner, I will sprint and hop around that corner. But if I'm just aiming down sights around a corner, sometimes I will just glide around with that weapon. You can also see when I post up and I wait for enemies, when the enemy does appear in my screen, I'm not just shooting at that enemy normally. I'm shooting while also maintaining my aim with one thumbstick and maintaining my movement with the other thumbstick to strafe and try to dodge, not necessarily dodge bullets, but make it a harder target for the enemy to hit. So that's what we have as far as the 4 attachments. Very, very deadly. Now, when you have 4 attachments, it leaves you with no room for a secondary, no room for a red dot sight and elo sight, which you don't really need in this weapon anyway. I mean, elo sights can be nice with this if you have an extra slot, but it's not necessary at all. So what I go is I put those into 2 perks and then 1 gear. You never want to go without a gear, and with gear on this weapon is basically between stim shot and stim shot versus ComSec device. Stim shot is definitely fits this playstyle better. This is more of your run and gun, stock 2, taking out multiple enemies, and stim shot does fit that better. However, it really just depends on what you want to go for. And with gear, it's sort of, you can synchronize it with the class setup. Stim shot is probably the most ideal way to do that. But running ComSec device can also, if you're going for high kills, trying to get your kill streaks up and maintain that way, it really just depends the play style that you're going with. You also notice with kill streaks, I was running Drone Squad here because Drone Squad is fairly efficient on, I always mix up between Drone Squad and Thresher as far as kill streaks. We'll talk about that in a second, though. We're going to finish up this class setup. So the 4 attachments: stock, stock 2, fast mags, and quick draw. And then I go with gear, like I said, ComSec device or stim shot. If you're running and gunning, 100% go with stim shot. If you're playing a little bit safer, slowing down your play style, going for streaks to try to dominate that way, go with ComSec device. And then my 2 perks, I actually go with Gung Ho as far as perk 2, which works amazing on every class setup, and especially with a class setup like this, where you are running and gunning, and then and getting your gun up fast with a quick draw with a weapon like this. And then my 3rd perk, I go with Dead Silence, and the reason why is, like I said earlier, Flak Jacket, Tac Mask, Scavenger, those things are amazing. I replace Scavenger with using my Crash Specialist, which basically takes away that need for Scavenger because you're replenishing with those ammo packs, and it also sort of gives you a mini hardline, which can be sort of like a mini ComSec device if you want to classify it as that, just because when you use those assault packs, you get 125 per kill versus 100, which means you're going to get to your score streaks a little bit easier. So that's what I run as far as my 2 perks. Just picking perks that will affect the majority of my gunfights. I'm not making this class setup to look cool or to sound cool. I'm making it to be efficient and to affect my gunfights, because that's what Call of Duty is. It's a twitch shooter, it's a gun-on-gun shooter, and those are going to, Dead Silence is going to help by making sure enemies can't hear me and making sure that small percentage of people that use acoustic device aren't able to track me that way. On the other hand, Gung Ho is going to help in pretty much, like, honestly, the majority of my gunfights, and same with my gear. I fit that to depending on what I want to go with. Now, my next question for you guys is, that's the class setup you got with this weapon. Absolutely dominant SOG 9mm class setup. Stock 2, fast mags, quick draw, gear, stim shot, or ComSec device. Depending on your playstyle, probably stim shot would fit with this a little bit better if you're just trying to run and gun and use this weapon to its full capability. And then Gung Ho and Dead Silence. Staying away from those perk 1s, we're basically using my specialist Crash to fill that perk 1 slot and give me kind of a mini version of Scavenger and a mini version of Hardline as well. Now, you notice the score streaks that I use. I run Drone Squad, especially on a map like Arsenal, where I'm usually mixing up between Drone Squad and Thresher. And that's my kill streak setup. It's either Drone Squad or Thresher, and then Sniper's Nest, and then Strike Team. Depending on the map, I mix up those first ones with the Drone Squad or the Thresher. I guess the Thresher would technically not be the first one, or I don't know, maybe it would be. But you guys see what I say with that. With the kill streaks, that's what I'm rocking. Either one of those two combos on the majority of maps, and it's working well. But I want to know, what score streak combos do you guys use? And I'm talking to players that are going for high kills. If you want to go for a high kill gameplay, what 3 score streaks would you use in like a domination match? Let me know in the comment section down below. Especially if you made it to the end of the video and you're listening to this right now, because I am generally curious to see what score streaks other people are using, because I've been rocking with these ones. They've been working out for me. I've been loving them. But if there's any other score streaks that I might want to mix it up and give some tries to, especially on different maps. Something like a Drone Squad, I think, works great on a map like this, where you're running and gunning. It's going to sort of stay with you, when a Thresher wouldn't be too effective on this map. Now, if you have Militia or, you know, firing range, probably your Thresher is going to be super duper effective on there. Anyway, thanks for watching. You guys can see how I'm strafing every time I get into these gunfights, aiming and using this weapon to strafe, knowing what I have, stock 1, stock 2, jump shots into strafing, and making this, in my opinion, the best SMG class setup you can find right now. Thanks for watching. Drop a like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one, and I'm out. Peace.